I think it's still 1 minute till, so I'm going to just vamp for a minute and say good morning, and I hope you all had a lovely weekend. Politics being what they are, I'm sure it wasn't a perfect weekend, but I'm very sure that we all found delightful ways to celebrate. Let us come in, take a deep breath, and settle in. Good morning. Welcome to Bay Area Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm Reverend Katie McQuage-Loukas, and my pronouns are she and hers. And again, welcome on this holiday weekend. I know it was rather warm out there, but hopefully you got out and enjoyed some sunshine, and I've got a little feedback here. We'll work on that. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrive today in body or mind or spirit, whether you're here in person or joining us online, excuse me, wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here.
I love it.
There we go. If this is your first time or your 500th time, you are welcome here. We're glad that you are here, and we are glad to be here together. My opening words are from Langston Hughes, so I'd better drink a little more water. Make sure I do it justice. It is the poem, Let America Be America Again. It's going to point a little bit ahead past some of our readings today, the ones that are lingering in the difficult moment, and toward the possibilities of what may yet come to be. Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain seeking a home where he himself is free. America never was America to me. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great, strong land of love where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Y'all, I did not wake up with a cough. I don't know what we got going on here. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath. But opportunity is real and life is free, equality in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark, and who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro bearing slavery's scars. I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young man full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the men, of take the pay, of owning everything for one's own greed. I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker sold to the machine. I am the Negro, servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean, hungry yet today despite the dream. Beaten yet today, oh pioneers. I am the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker bartered through the years. Yet I'm the one who dreamt our basic dream in the old world while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true that even yet its mighty daring sings in every brick and stone, in every furrow turned that's made America the land it has become. Oh, I'm the man who sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be my home. I'm the one who left dark Ireland's shore and Poland's plain and England's grassy lea, and torn from black Africa's strand I came to build a homeland of the free. The free? Who said the free? not me, surely not me. The millions on relief today, the millions shot down when we strike, the millions who have nothing for our pay. For all the dreams we've dreamed and all the songs we've sung, and all the hopes we've held and all the flags we've hung, the millions who have nothing for our pay except the dream that's almost dead today. Oh, let America be America again, the land that never has been yet and yet must be. The land where every man is free. Is there a cough drop in the back? Thank you. You just already went and got one, didn't you? Bless you. Yes. Oh, let America be America again, the land that never has been yet and yet must be, the land where every man is free, the land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain must bring back our mighty dream again. Sure, call me any ugly name you choose, the steel of freedom does not stain. From those who live like leeches on the people's lives, we must take back our land again, America. Oh yes, I say it plain, America never was America to me, and yet I swear this oath, America will be. Out of the rack and ruin of our gangster death, the rot of graft and stealth and lies, we the people must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains and the endless plain, all the stretch of these great green states, and make America again.
I think it might be Saharan dust, because I'm kind of the same way. Liz McQuage-Loukas will light our chalice this morning. We light our chalice as a symbol of the light within us and the life that flows through the world around us. It is our beacon as we search for truth. It is the warmth of our hearts for love, and it is the energy that propels us to action. May we be kindled by our time together. If you will stand as you are willing and able for our opening hymn, number 44, We Sing of Golden Mornings. Love is the doctrine of this church. Our faith in each other is its sacrament. Working for justice and living with compassion is its prayer. Reverently, we covenant together to side with love, to heal and not to harm, and to share hope with each other and with the world. Please join me now in saying our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and sternness is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, thus do we covenant with one another. Oh, and Liz will lead us in the Spanish version.
El amor es la doctrina de esta iglesia. La búsqueda de la verdad es su sacramento y el servicio es su sacramento. Y el servicio, buscar el conocimiento en libertad, servir a la humanidad en fraternidad. Así es como pactamos entre nosotros.
Our red candle of community reminds us that we are part of a greater whole. There are those of us here in this place physically together. There are people watching online now or later in the future, people present and people beyond our walls. And there are the greater communities of which we are a part. I light also our white candle of peace, which always feels fragile. I light it to commit us and recommit us to building a more just world and a more peaceful one. In addition to our community and world concerns, we also have our own concerns, things on our own hearts this morning, joys and sorrows, hopes and dreams, and worries and anxieties. All those things we gather together to make up the tapestry of our communal life together. I invite you now to bring those things forward and light a candle so that we can witness those things and you. Please come forward as you are moved and raise a hand if you would like a candle brought to you. Sometimes, as a great gift, one of my colleagues will write a special occasion prayer and then post it for all the other ministers to use. And on occasions like this one that are a little difficult, I am always grateful. This one is from Reverend Liz Weber in Louisville, Kentucky. Please join with me in prayer. Great love, Spirit of life, God, Goddess, Holy One of many names, on this anniversary of our nation's birth, we honor many complexities. That those who held lofty ideals also caused great harm, that war and violence have continued in our name, that our nation today is far from who we wish to be, and so we pray. Where there is pain, may there be a balm. Where there is oppression, may we find liberation. Where there is a rift, may healing come. And may we be agents of change together for good. We hold fast to our ideals, drawing on our history and looking towards our future. For we know that we belong to one another, that every being is sacred, that nobody is outside the circle of love, and that the only way forward is together. As we give thanks for being together, we offer this blessing. May everyone have enough. May our grief and our hope spur us towards justice. May we carry forward the gift of community, honoring our interdependence. And may we continue on the path of justice and liberation. Amen, and blessed be. Our prayer and song this morning is number 159. Please remain seated. Gloria is losing her voice this morning, so we decided that I would read. So we'll see if I start coughing. Maybe we'll trade off. It feels like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Our story this morning is They Call Me Teach, Lessons in Freedom by Lisa Klein Ransom. Before she passed, before freedom was even in the air, Mama told me, use that learning and make something of yourself. Every day is a chance to do just that. They call me Teach. Ain't my given name, but it's the only name folks around here know. It's a secret name, just between us. I learned reading and writing coming up alongside Master's son Thomas. What he read, I read. Numbers he figured, I figured. Got so I could just about outread and outfigure Thomas near every time. Now that Thomas is off at school, Master sent me to clerk in here in town in his store. It helps that I know numbers and letters near as good as any man, colored or white, free or slave. Monday. They run fast like mice through a cornfield, sneak in the back one by one. Squeeze in the corner stall of the stable where only the horses and mules can see us. 5 or so little ones. I give each a slate I keep hidden under a bale of hay. We're steady working our way through the alphabet with one torn speller I kept from my days with Thomas. What sound this one make, teach? They ask, eyes bright. Crouched low, I teach in whispers with hushed letters and the soft scrape of a stick against slate. Tuesday. On a delivery to Master William's house, cook opens the door to a kitchen hotter than August. She sets my package on the table and then pulls me in, takes a piece of paper from her apron, crumpled and damp with sweat. Read this, teach, she says with her eyes. I smooth down the edges. Letter from the missus, I ask, and she nods. What'd it say? I point to the first word. See this letter here? I start. Cook leans in and points to the next, and slow we sound out the words together. North, and Yankees and soldiers. Pots bubble over the fire as letter by letter we read. Cook saves every scrap of the words Mrs. throws away. The moon lights the way when I start under the dark of night. Darker still as I make my way through the woods, down past the creek, men from the fields wait on stumps, bone weary, but waiting still. We keep the lantern low, don't have much time, teach. In the dirt, I write out letters and whisper their sounds. With each snap of a branch, crack of a stick, we stop and listen, and then scratch and write, straining to see letters in the dirt under a moonlit sky. Thursday. When I arrive at the post office to pick up Master's mail, the big room is filled with talk and white folks' news that quiets when I near. I slip Master's things into my sack and walk outside through the alley behind the building. Only then do I look at the letters and parcels, open up the newspaper. I read and remember for later, to share, to spread to folks I see along the road, at night in the woods, to leave them with newspaper words of the war, of President Lincoln, of freedom heading south, led by soldiers in blue. As I turn pages, I hear footsteps behind me, then hot breath, sour with anger, hate. What you reading there, boy? A white man from the post office spits. Just looking at the pictures is all. Your master know you reading his paper? I tuck my head low. The words fall from my hands. Friday. Master's mad, he says law doesn't allow slaves to read except on account I help him at the store. No deliveries today, just cleaning and sweeping. I feel his eyes burning a hole through me all day. He says he'll send me back to the fields with lashes on my back if he catches me reading outside the store, anything except what he tells me. I say no, sir, and yes, sir, but I'm thinking he won't catch me again. When the last light is out and the store is locked, I creep along the road to the quarter, to the cabins with a speller hid under my hat. Saturday, the busiest day of the week. Fetching orders, wrapping packages, barely time to catch my breath. When I go out front to load up the wagon, I feel a hand on my arm. Need your help, teach. A woman, young and scared, standing beside me. Need a pass for tonight. We move out of sight off the road. Pass needs to say my master gives me permission to travel alone to another plantation. She says she needs time. She don't say the word run. She don't say the word escape. Wait here, I say, and finish loading the wagon. Back inside the store, I write up receipts for master's deliveries, for master's orders, and in between, I write up a receipt for her freedom. Sunday, the Lord's Day, a time for rest from secrets, rest from master before the work starts again. The boat is waiting to take me across the swamp, folks gathered dressed in their finest. Mourn and teach, they nod and wave in a log cabin with planks for benches. Sunday school's about to start, and preacher steps aside, hands me the Bible, worn and cracked. I read about the children of Israel. Folks shout, "Amen, teach," how God told the Pharaoh, "Let my people go." I take out my stick and I write those words on the slate. Preacher holds up high for everyone to see. I point out the letters, then the sounds. The congregation echoes back every word, every letter I read. "Hallelujah, teach," they call out. When Sunday school's over, songs rise out of whispers. "Tell all pharaohs to let my people go." Songs fill the air with the sounds of freedom. There is a bit of the author's note. I'm not going to read the whole thing, just a little of it. Both Black and white people knew that reading represented knowledge and an understanding of one's own circumstances, and it signified hope for a better future. Often, slave resistance narratives focus on those who escaped north to freedom. But for most, escape was a rare, if not impossible, feat. Among the enslaved, resistance took on many forms: disruption of work, sabotage, sharing information. Resistance was also music, storytelling, and learning to read and write. This book is a compilation of many of the real-life stories of the people who fought, resisted, demanded, and seized every opportunity at their disposal to gain the freedoms that literacy provided. And there's a quote attributed to Frederick Douglass: "Once you learn to read, you will be forever free." I am not sure who I'm passing the flame to. Gloria will do it.
Thank you. Our keeper of the flame today is Selena. Can you come up here? Our responsive reading this morning is number 579 in the back of the gray hymnal, number 579 by Frederick Douglass, "The Limits of Tyrants." Please join in with me on the italicized text. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet deprecate agitation are people who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its waters. This struggle may be a moral one, or it may be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. Find out what people will submit to, and you have found out the exact amount of injustice which will be imposed upon them. The limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress.
What to the Slave is the 4th of July was a speech delivered by Frederick Douglass on July 5th, 1852 in Rochester, New York, at a meeting organized by the Rochester Ladies. By the Ladies Anti-Slavery Society. This is an excerpt of the speech, a very small portion. The entire speech is worth reading and speaking aloud in these times. What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year, the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity, your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless, your denunciations of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence, your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery, your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him more bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes. The existence of slavery in this country brands your republicanism as a sham, your humanity as a base pretense, and your Christianity as a lie. It destroys your moral power abroad. It corrupts your politicians at home. It saps the foundation of religion. It makes your name a hissing and a byword to a mocking earth. It is the antagonistic force in your government, the only thing that seriously disturbs and endangers your union. Notwithstanding the dark picture I have this day presented of the state of the nation, I do not despair of this country. While drawing encouragement from the Declaration of Independence, the great principles it contains, and the genius of American institutions, my spirit is also cheered by the obvious tendencies of the age. Nations do not now stand in the same relation to each other that they did ages ago. No nation can now shut itself up from the surrounding world and trot round in the same old path of its fathers without interference. The time was when such could be done. Long established customs of hurtful character could formally fence themselves in and do their evil work with social impunity. Knowledge was then confined and enjoyed by the privileged few, and the multitude walked on in mental darkness. But a change has now come over the affairs of mankind. Walled cities and empires become unfashionable. Oceans no longer divide, but link nations together. The fiat of the Almighty, let there be light, has not yet spent its force. No abuse, no outrage can now hide itself from the all-pervading light.
If you only take one thing away from this day, it's that if Frederick Douglass can have some hope, so can we. And I went with Frederick Douglass today, not to lean into the painful parts, but to remind us that our nation has always been imperfect. And it is always in flux, always transforming, and always striving to move a little closer to its ideals. Our nation has always been this way, and there have always been those demanding better. Someday, 100 years from now, someone will ask the same questions. How can we love this country that does the things that it does? And the answer will be that it has always been this way, and that it has always been up to us to make the necessary demands to bend the arc of history. So when we ask today what to detained families is the 4th of July, or what to trans youth is the 4th of July, we are participating in a long tradition of refusing to lie to ourselves about the nature of our country. And we would not ask the question at all if there were not alternatives embedded in our foundational texts, concepts of liberty and equality that transcend the actual practiced reality of our lives. And in many ways, a love of country is embedded in the questions. If there were not possibility and potential, there wouldn't be a point in asking. So asking why are we not living up to our dreams and our promises arises in its own way from patriotism and love of country, even or perhaps especially when the question is asked in outrage and anger. Douglass himself in his speech noted that the country was at that moment still so very young and not yet a century old, and that there was time for it to grow into its promises. And Douglass is perhaps not speaking from a place of patriotism as such, but he is speaking from a place of possibility and hope. We are now at the 250-year mark. I imagine that many people throughout our history would have envisioned us being farther along the road to maturity, to the fulfillment of the promises of our founding documents, but here we are, still struggling, still transforming, still falling back and inching forward again. There's not a straight line, a straight path from here to there, at least not in this moment, when our institutions are captured by elites, the most privileged of the privileged, seeking to preserve social and economic dominance and American caste systems. Democracy is embedded in Unitarian Universalism. Overtly, we claim it. We name it as part of our process and our method and our intentions and our ideals. But also implicitly, whenever we name values of interdependence, justice, and equity, those values require democratic practices to be made real and lived out. Otherwise, they're just words. And so our faith calls us to live democratically in every aspect of our lives, to engage with each other as equals, as people in relationship with one another, as interdependent components of the society in which we live. I often say that any system is built to do the thing that it is actually doing, regardless of the intention in its creation. If a system is producing a result, it was made to do that. To make it stop doing those things require that we fully reshape it. We can't just tinker around the edges because it will just keep doing the thing it was built to do. It took a war to give us the Reconstruction Amendments, which we are as yet still holding on to, barely. It took a different set of wars and integrating the military to make inroads on the American caste system. It is not an easy thing to change the course of the ship of state. And sometimes, in some moments, you just have to admit the whole thing's busted. And this doesn't mean we abandon it because we do not have a replacement. But we have to be honest about what our institutions are capable of doing and investigate alternatives to do what our current institutions will not do. Part of acceptance therapy is recognizing what's actually in front of you so that you can actually do something about it. And we have to recognize the monumental proportions of the task in front of us. And we must continue to exert ourselves to keep our institutions functioning and try to redirect them because we cannot abandon them. For one thing, I will not yield that territory. And so we will vote and we will run for things and we will keep working on legislative and judicial processes. But we must also acknowledge simultaneously that loving our country and loving our neighbors means we might have to DIY some of this. There are still things that need to be done even when the system is broken. And so we must seek ways to create democracy beyond the state and beyond our institutions. There's a concept of parallel systems. They run alongside the primary system. They work under the same conditions, in the same economy, in the same culture. It's not running off to form a commune in the wilderness, although for the visionaries and dreamers, I know that's got its own value. But parallel institutions are built to work within the same communities as the dominant systems, but to behave differently and with different goals, to become new systems. Parallel institutions often support the status quo, and we see that with all the think tanks, the lobbying organizations that cultivate people who will enter into the state and government systems. But parallel institutions can also fully reshape the dominant system, and this is how Project 2025 worked. It began as a counter-institution, but it built up momentum. It worked within the systems that currently existed to make major changes. Project 2025 was and is full of plans that use the frameworks that already exist to accomplish desired goals. And that's what made it possible for the current administration to hit the ground running on day one. Part of that project was destroying whole swaths of government. So it's not clear that a Project 2029 would actually work, although if you feel called to that work, you should definitely try it. But I think that my work is to focus on the role of faithful communities in these times, because I think that we are laboratories for ways of being that are aligned with our values. We can experiment with what works and grow it into something that contributes to the groundwork for larger change. If the world around us is not conducive to acting in accordance with our values, we have to make spaces that are, with our own labors of love. This is what marginalized communities have always done. Certainly many of the people I follow online this week were saying, I don't feel despair, I always feel like this. This is my normal reality, and I get back up tomorrow and I get back to work because that's what I do. By creating alternative power bases, communities can take care of themselves and grow power and eventually wield it. In the framework of nonviolent action, we're very familiar with protest and persuasion. And we might be familiar with forms of non-cooperation like boycotts and strikes. But parallel institutions are direct interventions that support the possibilities of other actions. When we need inspiration, we should look to the margins to see how those who are far from power and far from the state have practiced mutual care and support, building their own parallel institutions at need. Some of these are very small and local. When Vietnamese fishermen immigrated to the States in the 70s, they pooled their funds and distributed them each month to a particular family, enabling that particular family to buy a boat. One by one, families were in turn provided with the means of survival because they did not have access to bank loans. Mississippi Freedom Schools in 1964 were providing education to Black students that they couldn't get under segregation. In '64, there were 2,500 students attending 40 different summer schools where they learned Black history but also civic skills. It was underground publishing in Eastern Europe that developed the leaders who would one day lead new political parties. All of these things function in a couple of different ways simultaneously. They create informed citizens, they create people who are participating in the economy, and they create the infrastructure for other forms of protest and action to happen. The Montgomery bus boycott doesn't happen without social support networks, formal and informal, so that people can still get to work. Strikes don't happen without strike funds and people offering food and logistical support. The best forms of civic action arise when we are actually practicing and living out democratic principles. When we chant, "This is what democracy looks like," we're not talking about that moment in the march. We're talking about the whole process that got us there. It's not only the end result that embodies democracy, but every step that leads to the result. We do often say that if the right to vote didn't matter, they wouldn't try to take it away, and that's true. And to discover what else may matter, it's wise to look at other rights that are under threat. Freedom of association is under threat. There are members of a book club in Dallas-Fort Worth that are being prosecuted for conspiracy because some of their comrades did indeed participate in a protest that went very wrong. Freedom of the press. Some of those folks owned a printing press, and so even though they weren't at the protest, they're now sentenced to decades in prison for promoting terrorism by printing pamphlets. Freedom of religion, whatever the Texas State Board of Education is doing, violates all our tenets of freedom of religion. So all these things must then be dangerous when we associate, when we print things, when we practice our faith. And so again, I repeat my words from before, that democracy is embedded in Unitarian Universalism. Overtly, when we name it as process and method, and it's also whenever we name interdependence, justice, and equity. Where are the places we can grow democracy today and now? Not years from now, not after some election or other, but today. Where can we practice what it means to be a people of interdependence and justice, leading us to transformation? Many of us still love what this country could become. We love moments when our capacity for greatness and liberty has glimmered even amid our failures. I return to the opening poem from Langston Hughes. We must be a people who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings. I personally refuse to concede this nation to Christian nationalism and white supremacy, not when we still have the opportunity to be the nation we dreamed of. That dream is battered, but it is still real. Just not perhaps by simply waiting for the next election. It becomes real when we try it, when we practice democracy in our day-to-day lives and the projects that are right in front of us. I always joke that I learned how to run a meeting at church, not at work. I also would like to add that I learned how to negotiate and compromise in any number of my relationships. I've learned how to do teamwork at church and how to advocate for change. The state is not the only arena where we learn and apply those skills. In fact, it might be the last arena, kind of the final boss after we acquire our skills and learn how to reorient ourselves in our everyday lives. So my questions for all of us this morning is what skills have we built over our lives? What skills would we like to build? And how can we practice democracy in our day-to-day lives? Doing these things, building these skills, in doing that we will grow our collective power together. Not for the day the revolution comes, but for the day we are able to bring it about. Amen, and may it be so. And because we are so very democratic, it is we who support ourselves. And so now is the time for the offering, and I ask you to give as generously as you are able to support the work and ministries of this church, knowing it is we who fund it. Thank you. Let us bless the offering together. This gift from the abundance of my life blesses me, our ministries, and the world. And sorry, Terry, I forgot to tell you I have an announcement, but you will not be surprised by it. I have some big news. Next week, our guest preacher is the Reverend Dr. Colin Bosson. He's the senior minister at First Unitarian in downtown Houston. And he will stay after the service to talk about his new book, The Political Theologies of Populism. The service itself will be more about the moment, and then after the service, I will sit down with him and we'll do a deep dive right here in the sanctuary after the service, and there will be snacks and the like. The books came in early, so I'm able to offer them for sale today, not just next week, so if you want to get a peek in advance and maybe come up with a question or two, that's doable. The book is about the era between 1905 and 1930. It focuses on three of the big populist movements at the time: the Klan, the Garveyites, and the Wobblies. The idea of political theology is that the way we think about politics and movements and what it means to be a people leans heavily on the religious imagery and language and frameworks we've already got embedded in our minds. And so the Pan-African populism of the Garveyites, the white supremacy of the Klan, and the pluralistic labor movement of the IWW, they're all drawing on the religious language and iconography of the time period, purposefully or not, to create this notion of what we, the people, might be. And I'm sure many of you are hearing some resonances to our own moment today, especially in the tensions between Christian nationalism and religious pluralism. And indeed, I have not yet finished the book, but it's my understanding that's where we will go. I'm working on it. To the mechanisms that led to our present moment, and perhaps some ideas for how to respond to that. The list price of the book is $36.99, which conveniently works out to $40 and like a couple of pennies with sales tax. So if you want to buy a book after the service, I'll go to the back to the table. You can either pull up the same donation window you use on your phone, or you can write a check, or you can give me cash, which is why we're going with an even $40, because I'm not going to try to work out pennies here. And I hope that you can all come next week to hear the dialogue between me and Colin about the book, and that if you're able to get one early, you might come up with a really good question or two of your own. So again, meet me in the back after the service if you would like a copy, $40, The Political Theologies of Populism, published by Wayne State University Press. Thank you.
The mission of Bay Area Unitarian Universalist Church is to change lives and heal our world. There are many ways to get involved and help build beloved community. As always, you'll find more information in the Tuesday email, the order of service insert, and our newsletter. Today at BAUC, I don't need to read that. While it's a quieter holiday weekend at BAUC, there are still a few opportunities to connect after today's service. Coffee and fellowship begins immediately afterward in Cockrell Hall. If you'd like to continue the conversation over lunch, everyone is invited to join us at Demasi's Mediterranean Buffet at 12:30. The Service and Justice Ministry team will also meet in the library at 12:30 this afternoon. And because of the holiday weekend, there will be no Buddhist meditation this afternoon. Meditation will resume next Sunday at its regular time. Spend your Wednesday evening at BAUC. Dinner begins at 5:45. Followed by Vespers at 6:30 in the sanctuary, and then Singo at 7 in Cockrell Hall. If you've never played Singo before, it's bingo with music instead of numbers. It's easy to learn, lots of fun, and everyone is welcome. You'll find all the details, including the dinner menu, in the weekly email and the order of service. Everyone is invited to Music Meetup this Friday at 6:30 in the sanctuary. Whether you play an instrument, sing, or just enjoy listening, all experience levels are welcome. Also this Friday, join the hospitality ministry team for an evening at Miller Outdoor Theater to enjoy the Houston Symphony. You'll find all the details in the order of service and the weekly email. There are more opportunities to connect at BAUC than we can fit into these announcements. To stay connected by email, sign up on our website or in the guest book just outside the sanctuary. Please join us after the service in Cockrell Hall for coffee and conversation in the east wing of the building, down the hallway and past most of the classrooms. If you'll now stand, as you're willing and able, for our closing hymn, We'll Build a Land.
Again, going back to Langston Hughes, we, the people, must redeem the lands, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains, and the endless plain, all the stretch of these great green states, and make America again. Go forth and make it so, and may you find some joy and some delight in the work and strength, so that together we might transform the world. Blessed be, amen, and go in peace.